All right, hey there, my Trial and Pisces peeps.
Hey, what's up, fam? What's good?
Hey, what's up, Chuck?
Hanging out with my brother, Charles.
That's right. Today we are checking out the Charles Schulz Museum, aka the Charlie Brown Museum. Full disclosure, our time in California is about to come to an end. We are almost to the bottom of our bucket list things to do in California, and this place has been on the list for quite a while. We just haven't made it over here. So today we're going to take a tour, check it out, and more to come on where we're headed next once we leave California.
And I promise I won't pull the football from a bandega.
The Peanuts comic strip was first published in 1947, but under the name Little Folks. In 1950, it was renamed Peanuts. And for those of you watching that have been living under a rock and have never read or heard of this infamous comic strip, it featured a group of young children whose main character was Charlie Brown, the alter ego of its creator, Charles Schulz. The 4-panel artistic strip typically offered an underlying message for the reader, but in the form of a joke, and often at Charlie Brown's expense. On the surface, it seemed to be just a small bit of entertainment, but the depth of each one of these unique characters allowed Schulz a unique opportunity to connect with his readers on various levels. These iconic characters were created somewhere near Minnesota, but their creator, Charles Schulz, moved to Sonoma County in 1958, creating his studio on the now site of the museum. Charles Schulz Museum and Research Center opened in 2002, 2 years after his death. The museum's vast collection includes thousands of Mr. Schulz's original artworks, letters, and photographs. And artists from all over the world have created tribute pieces for the museum. My favorite was by a Japanese artist who created a huge tile wall comprised from comic strips, and from a distance shows Lucy holding the football for Charlie Brown. As you get closer, though, you are treated to the vast collection of comic strips used to create this beautiful piece of artwork. One of the more unique parts of the museum was a recreation of Charles Schulz's workspace where he created these Sunday morning reads. As you walk through the room, you feel like you've entered a time capsule of sorts and can almost imagine him sitting at his desk creating. A retro TV in the corner plays in the background, and it has interview pieces from decades ago.
Well, it's a very good feeling to know that you are drawing something that is making other people laugh.
To hear his voice as he discusses what drove him to create these characters gave off the feeling that he was sitting in the room with you. It's crazy to hear and read about where his inspiration for each character came from. Like the little red-headed girl that Charlie Brown had a crush on, she was inspired by a real-life woman from Schulz's past who had broken his heart many decades ago when she chose her husband over Schulz and left him heartbroken. There are rooms for hands-on activities, a children's area for craft making, and even an animation workshop for all ages. Outside, you will find a small garden area with character statues and even a kite-eating tree. Oh, there's the kite. Damn, did you see the kite up there? I didn't see the kite up there. I was reading the thing about the kite. I was like, where is it at? I thought it was the redwood. Did you see that up there? Okay. It wasn't just me. Kite eating tree. To this day, the underlying messages in the Peanuts comic strips are still relevant on how to deal with some of life's misfortunes. I mean, think about it. Chuck had to deal with so much. I can't even count how many times he had to deal with a football that always pulled away right at the moment before attempting to kick it. I can honestly hear Charlie Brown at that instance with a sigh. Good grief. But this group of friends was always there for Chuck and the rest of the group to offer advice and encouragement. Now, I don't know about you, but I fell in love with Charlie Brown's dog, Snoopy. Snoopy was the coolest, whether it was from him chilling on his little house or taking time out of his day to fantasize himself as Joe Cool. For a dog, Snoopy was one cool cat. And don't get me started on Snoopy's little yellow sidekick Woodstock. He was the cutest and came with his own little bag of mishaps as him and Snoopy went on lots of adventures. Charles Schulz died in 2000, just hours before his final Sunday comic strip was published. After decades and decades of weekly publishings, the Peanuts was running in 75 countries, over 2,500 newspapers, and read by over 350 million people. Alright, so it says for adults, and what does it have inside?
Cool, because the people were rating stuff from all over, like
Yeah, that
people
is
saying
neat.
that they were coming from Louisiana and
Not everybody says that.
Kenya.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean,
Right? Some true stuff.
yeah, the Peanuts comics, they were all over the world. And then there were books and cartoons and TV shows. So much.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Y'all, I gotta tell you, I am super impressed with my husband and his Charlie Brown knowledge.
You got the same surname. Of course I gotta know about my brother.
Oh my goodness. One of the ladies in there, he had asked a question. What was your question?
So my question was about Peppermint Patty, and I was asking what was Peppermint Patty's gender?
Correct.
Because that's kind of elusive when you kind of, watch the cartoons. So she did let me know that Peppermint Patty was indeed a girl, but she was a tomboy.
Yeah.
Like a tomboy. So, she liked dressing in boy clothes, and she was very active in sports and things like that. So, which is, amazing when you think about how relevant that is in today's society. Because, she comes across as a boy. And when you think about Marcy, her best friend, Marcy always called her Sir.
Sir, correct.
So, it kind of makes you wonder, okay, if Peppermint Patty's a girl and he's calling her Sir, what's going on? So it just makes you think, how that was really relevant, 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially because, there were so many lessons that Charles Schulz wrote into his comic strips. They kind of mirrored everyday life and wanted you to be aware of things that, you should be doing, like love one another regardless of your race or gender.
Right.
So there were always these underlying
tones.
Right, that he was trying to get across, and they're especially
Underlying messages, yeah.
right. And for being back in the 1960s, they're even so more relevant today, and you just really kind of didn't realize the things that the messages he was putting into them, and the impact that he was going to have on so many people's lives
around the world.
Yeah. So after touring the museum and exhibits, make your way past the Snoopy labyrinth in the shape of a beagle's head to the indoor ice skating rink. Schulz had a love for hockey and built this complex in 1969, which, if you're doing the math, predates the museum by several decades. Outside of the ice rink are several statues of Snoopy. On a side note, you can actually find more statues of the Peanuts gang scattered around Santa Rosa. Once inside the ice rink, stop into the Warm Puppy Cafe and sip on some hot cocoa, or strap on some skates and take a spin around the ice. After chilling in the ice rink, make your way over to the large 2-story gift shop, which also has a vast assortment of collectibles from all over the world. These lovable little characters sold merchandise such as stuffed animals, clothing, and various other products like greeting cards, with sales that amounted to over $1 billion a year. Some of the characters found their way making hot air balloon appearances at annual balloon fiestas, and Snoopy appearing in the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. The Peanuts empire grew exponentially over 50 years, more than its creator Charles Schulz could have ever envisioned. Throughout this impressive run, though, Schulz refused to let anyone else draw or write the comic strips. This collection amounted to over 18,000 strips and is believed to be the longest story ever told by a single person.
There's the Mona Lucy.
If traveling to San Francisco or Napa, this is definitely a day trip to put on your list of attractions. Make sure to set aside at least a half a day, though, to give yourself enough time to really enjoy this impressive museum and all that it offers.
Well, I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought there was going to be more of a child's exhibit, but it was really pretty impressive. A lot of history, and plus you get to go to the ice skating rink, and then the gallery and gift shop on the other side of it is huge and it's like a little mini museum in itself. So hope you enjoyed that. Ciao for now.